everybody, Wayne Andrews Workshop here, and welcome back to another episode of Coast Aquarium. I feel like every episode we end up at the entrance, but it is a pretty small project and we do cram in a lot of detail between episodes. So in this case, it is the custom billboards. As I mentioned in the other Orwell episode, I finally am able to play the normal version of the game so I can access online content, which means I can finally use custom billboards as well as mods, which we'll see over there in a bit. But yeah, so for these little posters, I just looked up like aquarium advertisement, and these this like little set of like visit the aquarium advertisements came up. I have no idea where they're from, but they look gorgeous and add so much life, an atmosphere to this project that wasn't really there before. And then these little I don't know how to describe them, like lampposts, like flower hanger lamppost things, were inspired by Remnant in his Twin Palms project, but I wanted to kind of put my own spin on it. So these are inspired by a flower lamppost at Disneyland. Actually, I just looked up like flower lamppost, and these came up, and I really loved how they looked, and I just sort of gave my own sort of seafoam green color palette, and like I mentioned with the posters, they add so much ambience to the area that was seriously lacking before. So we'll move in to the main entrance hangar. I'm kind of doing some renovation in this area, so like a lot of like the sort of landscaping is gone. But before there was sort of like a pixel art orca made out of like gutter pieces, but I've managed to find a picture of one that looks much better. And then moving through here, ooh, excuse me. I've got a picture of Big Sur, California, which is where this project is based in terms of geography. And then coming into the Golden State Gifts and Sundries, this is where the custom billboards really like come into play. This entire floor is made out of custom billboards. I just looked up ocean rug, and this came up. And before it was a carpet made out of the wood planks. There were like 4,000 pieces, and it was getting really difficult to build. So I figured might as well take advantage of what we've got and find an actual carpet texture to use. And I wasn't big on the sort of like gridded look you get because these are like the 4x4, but I think it actually works. Maybe they like purchased like specific textiles that were only a specific like dimension, and they just laid them down. I think it's a cool effect. It kind of like disrupts the texture a little. And then these vending machines, these were originally, I think Domez made these, but I just took out the logo and I think it was FizzWiz, and just put in like an old-fashioned Coca-Cola poster. And then speaking of old-fashioned posters, I just looked up old-fashioned California poster and found them for Monterey Bay, Big Sur, and just general California. We've got like redwoods and farmland, which aren't anywhere near each other, but they symbolize the state pretty well in terms of iconography. And then in the back, I almost missed this. I looked up brick wall texture, specifically a seamless brick wall texture, just so I could like sort of overlap it to get like the specific length of the wall. And I think this all looks fantastic, especially at nighttime. Let me just turn that on. The one downside to the billboards is that they are flat texture, so the light reflects off of them a lot. But I can look past it just because of how good it looks. Honestly, it was a big improvement from before. Where this was just another wall made out of the banner pieces, and it was a pretty uniform color. Or the color palette was fine, but I wanted more texture, and I think this adds so much texture that was missing before. So we're going to go back into day mode, and we're going to hop back out into the main plaza. So yeah, we've got another one of these sort of flower pot hanger things. And then coming over to the tide pool area, I added this little info sign. This took me forever to find, but I really love the one I picked. Even though it's for like Southern California, I think it still works in context. Before I was just using the simply Savannah sign, which looked good, but this like specific bit of information and visuals just add so much. I'm going to say that a lot, but it does. This project has really been carried by the custom billboards lately, just because obviously Planet Zoo wasn't meant for making aquariums, so the atmosphere wasn't really there before, but now that I can pretty much add whatever texture I want or whatever sign I want, it's really helped. So we're gonna go over the elevator building and into the main, well, this is the main plaza, but I guess the secondary plaza. And I've added more of these, and then inside of the sheephead trattoria, I finally added some chairs. I'm likely going to create a menu for this restaurant, as well as some other details. This was just a quick thing I wanted to do just because this has been empty for months. But then going back down into the jelly cellar, we'll turn on night again. I finally installed Drax Jellyfish pack and put in these guys before I just had a sort of I guess cheap kind of janky little jellyfish that I made out of the Australian rod pieces. But then they serve their purpose, but having somebody like Drac will not come in because he didn't do this personally, but make actual realistic jellyfish really helped this specific part of the aquarium along. We're just kind of going through because I've added a ton of detail, but we'll get to the main part of the episode in a second. And then for the La Brea Cannery section, got more of the pot hangers, and then on the inside, I added these two signs. One, the sort of I found a beach marine mammal, what should I do? And then the Know Your Phocae, which are the seal family, because this wall was just an empty spot before, but these add really quite a bit to the just general interior space design. Just throwing out words there. But then we'll get into what I actually spent the most time on. So we'll come in through here. I don't know if I showed this spot off in the tour episode, last episode, when it was just empty. But now we have this sort of rotunda building that's just generally for education, but I wanted to make it feel temporary, so these signboard things are actually just propped up on these cheap wooden scaffolding, and you could move these out and have a corporate dinner in here or whatever. But then overhead, oh, the lighting is perfect. I was gonna adjust it. I have this display of dolphins and fish and rays. And I think these are Commerson's dolphins specifically. I don't know if these guys are actually in the Pacific Ocean or nearby California, but I think they work. And then moving in through here, I'll turn it on night because that's when it looks best. We have the Golden Forest Pavilion. Well, it's not really a pavilion, it's just a single room, but pavilion is a pretty nice retro-futuristic word for this. So this is the Golden Forest section. We have, I installed a zebra shark mod. I think Leaf did this. It's Zero Salmont's model from Zoo Tycoon 2, I think, but Leaf imported it. And these guys work so well. The swimming is obviously a little bit wonky, but I can look past that just because of the fact that we have moving sea life now. It's incredible. And they actually dive. It looks great. The lighting was such a pain to get. I'll actually zoom out here. As you can see, I haven't done anything to hide this yet. I will, but it's just a ton of spotlights in all these specific areas, and it was a real pain in the ass to get to look good, but the final result I am super happy with. And then in here, we've got little info signs for sharks and California sheephead, and we have a lobster in here. And speaking of the sheephead, I've got one over there. I think that's by Zizi. And then all these little fish are by Drac. And then we got a little info sign about the kelp forest ecology. And then this tank would be for red urchin and bat star, which are also kelp forest natives. And then as for the kelp itself, I was directly inspired by Remnant for this technique. It's the, I forget what it's called, the underwater temple plant. And I just stacked a million of them up against each other and added all these little lights just to make it feel a little more orangey. And I think it works fantastically. I would have liked to have added more, but the sharks can only traverse so much of this. They can't really swim around the kelp, as you can see. So I could only really add it in the center. And then I added this background of a kelp forest and just turned down the water transparency by quite a lot. Because when you turn on day, it's like completely murky. But then when you turn on night, you would have never guessed that it looks so good. And then I forget who did all of these corals, but they look fantastic as well. Really nice use of unexpected pieces there with like the bamboo for the brain coral. And then we'll look at the outside. We saw this in the last episode, but I'll show it off anyway. I meant to add signage here, like the golden forest, but it's not a huge deal. We'll add it at some point. Alright, so what's next for Gold Coast Aquarium? Well, we've got this spot right here. Like I've mentioned like 3 or 4 times now, this will be the Baja California Sur Pavilion. And then over here, we'll have sea otters and I'm thinking Magellanic penguin, just because those are a little more geographically close to California. Because I did want to have penguins, like I mentioned, but I feel like African penguins are a little too far away to be like completely appropriate. So we'll kind of tie it into the sort of vaguely American like species list we've got going on so far. All right, so check out the last episode of Orwell Zoo if you haven't already. Juno did an amazing job on the Desert Dome, and then we'll definitely be doing more of Gold Coast Aquarium now that we've have access to the mods and billboards, and I'll see you in whatever comes first, and have a good one.